I bought a well-maintained SUV, good records, regular oil changes. At 110,000 miles, the coolant tested acidic and the filter had glitter. 3 months later, misfires and a leaking water pump. Here's how I could have seen it coming. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact inspections I use now. Early 1,000-mile oil change on new cars, 5,000-mile intervals for turbo engines, coolant changes before 100,000 miles, and a quick oil volume check that flags PCV and ring problems. Learn the story your fluids are telling before your wallet finds out. Your engine can feel smooth today and still have a $4,000 repair already started. Let's pull the clues out of your coolant and oil before they turn into parts and labor. Think of this as diagnostic maintenance. You're not guessing, and you're not waiting for a warning light. You're using simple checks to read the chemistry and the metal your engine sheds, so you can spot the trend months early. Fluids are not just lubricants and heat carriers. They're reporters. They write a story every mile, and if you know how to read it, you can act while repairs are still cheap. Most owners' manuals talk about long intervals and even lifetime fluid, but chemistry doesn't care about marketing. Coolant starts alkaline and slowly loses its ability to neutralize acids. Oil starts with additives that suspend soot and protect metal, but it also becomes a mailbox for tiny wear particles. These changes don't wait for a dash light. They happen in the background every heat cycle. Grab a basic coolant test strip and dip it in the reservoir or radiator when the engine is cold. You'll see color blocks shift. One reads pH, another estimates reserve alkalinity, the buffer that keeps acids in check. When reserve alkalinity drops, corrosion speeds up. That starts attacking the thin film on water pump seals, then moves on to the aluminum around passages and the steel components that meet dissimilar metals. Head gaskets sit at that boundary. Low buffer plus high heat creates a slow burn you can't see until the leak shows up. On engines like the Toyota 5.7 V8 and others with mixed metal cooling systems, neglected coolant invites galvanic corrosion. Dissimilar metals in an electrolyte make a small battery, and the softest metal loses. Over time, coolant that's lost its inhibitors lets that erosion chew at gasket fire rings and coolant ports. A $40 drain and fill and a proper mix recharges the inhibitors and stops that tiny battery from eating away at your sealing surfaces. Skip it long enough and you're shopping for a head gasket job, machine work, and a water pump, and you'll still have the same chemistry problem if you don't fix the coolant. Now the oil. When you do a change, cut open your old filter. Use a cheap cutter or a hacksaw, split the can, and spread the media. A normal filter shows a gray, fine paste that sticks to a magnet. That's ferrous dust from rings and cams doing everyday work. What you don't want are bright, reflective flakes. Shiny specks mean plating layers, and base metals are coming off parts that should not shed. Different metals tell different stories. Aluminum shows up as dull, silvery fines when pistons scuff or timing covers wear. Brass and copper point at bearing overlay and thrust washers, so that gold tint in the pleats is a warning about bottom-end health. Steel flakes, especially sharp ones that stick to a magnet, tie back to rings, cam lobes, or lifter faces. Flakes mean spalling or abrasion that's accelerating. They don't come from normal age. When you see them, you've moved from mild wear into the zone where clearances will open fast. Add one more step. Measure the oil you drain. Use a clean jug with markings. If you expect 5 quarts and you catch 4, you're burning or losing it. A quart down between surfaces can flag stuck oil control rings from short-trip fuel dilution, a PCV valve that's stuck and pulling oil mist, or a leak that only shows under load. Catching that loss early lets you fix root causes before bearings run starved or converters clog. With a $15 coolant test, a filter autopsy, and a measuring jug, you can map the road to a $4,000 repair while it's still a $50 problem. Now that you can read what your fluids are telling you, let's shut down the wear at the source with intervals that protect today's hotter, boosted, and tighter engines. What if 3 cheap habits erased most of the risk? No lift, no special tools, just a plan you actually follow. We just read the warnings hiding in your fluids. Now let's stop that wear before it starts. Prevention means intervals that fit how modern engines really live. Hotter oil, tighter clearances, tiny turbos, and direct injection that dumps fuel and soot into places carbureted engines never touched. The trick isn't spending more. It's timing services so the chemistry never gets ugly and the parts never run dry. Manufacturer schedules look relaxed because they sell convenience. Heat and boost disagree. Direct injected engines wash a little fuel past the rings at idle and short trips. That dilutes oil, thins viscosity, and can invite low-speed pre-ignition in small turbo engines. You don't get a warning chime for that. You get rings that stick and bearings that see metal to metal when oil shears out of grade late in the interval. The invoice shows up a few years later, usually after the warranty. Here's a simple oil strategy that keeps you out of that zone. On a brand new engine, change the oil and filter around 1,000 miles. That first interval strips out break-in metal and silicone sealant crumbs left from assembly, which don't show as codes but do load your filter. After that, run 5,000-mile oil and filter intervals on turbo and supercharged engines, and 5,000 to 7,500 on naturally aspirated if most of your driving is highway. 10,000-mile stretches sound efficient, but extended heat cycles shear viscosity modifiers and increase volatility. Thin oil ramps, LSPI risk and turbo coking. Shorter intervals cost a little more now and buy you ring seal and clean cam phasers later. Make it automatic. Put 2 things on your phone: a repeating calendar reminder and your current odometer. Snap a photo of the dash when you service and add it to a note or a dedicated maintenance app. That running log does more than keep you on schedule. It protects resale. Buyers and dealers dock value when records are spotty, and missing documentation can knock a meaningful chunk off an otherwise clean car. A tidy, time-stamped list of services answers the only question that matters. Did you care for it on time? Coolant needs its own cadence. Service between 50,000 and 100,000 miles, depending on use and climate. Dye color doesn't mean protection. Green, pink, orange, or blue is just dye. What matters is the inhibitor package staying intact. Mixing different chemistries can weaken those inhibitors and accelerate corrosion, especially in mixed metal engines. Stick with the correct spec. Top with distilled water when you must, and refresh before the buffer is gone so seals and gaskets never see acidic coolant. Transmissions respond well to gentle, regular care. A simple drain and fill every 30,000 miles replaces 3 to 4 quarts and the most heat-stressed fluid without shocking the system. You'll feel cleaner shifts and lower temps. Skip it to 120,000 and a full flush can stir debris and stress-tired seals. Slow and steady keeps clutch packs happy and solenoids clean. Don't ignore the quiet fluids. Brake fluid absorbs moisture. Swap it every 2 to 3 years to protect calipers, ABS valves, and pedal feel. Differentials and transfer cases like fresh gear oil every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, especially if you tow or see a lot of stop and go. For hydraulic power steering, 50,000 to 100,000 miles keeps the rack and pump from grinding themselves to a leak. A single fluid day runs about $150 to $300 in supplies, and it blocks $2,000 to $5,000 failures across the drivetrain and brakes while adding value at sale time. You've got the cadence now. Use it to catch small changes early and show with clean records why your car is worth more when you hand over the keys. The priciest failures begin as quiet chemistry. Acidity sneaks up in coolant, metal shows in filter media, and missing oil volume exposes wear long before parts fail. Catch those 3, and you turn a crisis into a quick service visit. Run the checks this week. Dip a coolant test strip. Open your old oil filter and inspect the pleats under good light. Measure what drains out and note the gap. Log mileage, date, and results. Keep that record growing. Clean fluids protect seals, bearings, and rings, and the paper trail protects your wallet. Do the work now, and 200,000 miles becomes routine. Resale value follows.